If you guys have questions, feel free to just shout them out or put them in the chat. Matt's here, as you have seen. He is with XPRESSDOCS, and he is the expert on helping us be able to use XPRESSDOCS for direct mail, and going to show us the customizable Atwood exclusive postcards and stuff that's been added into XPRESSDOCS that are not really for your just listeds and just closed, but to promote you as an agent, as a trusted advisor, and also our retirement kit that we created so you can promote yourself to retirees, empty nesters, moving to warmer climates. There's an expired listings kit as well that Matt's going to show us that we added to here. And so, like I said, if you have any questions, shout them out or put them in the chat. I'll monitor the chat in case those questions do pop in there. All questions are good questions, and they usually lead to a great explanation for the rest of the group. So don't hesitate. And Matt, I'll let you take it away. Thank you for doing this with us.
Hey, I am happy to be here. Thank you everybody for joining. Real quick, just about myself. I've been in XPRESSDOCS now for just over 15 years. I oversee Realogy/Anywhere accounts. And today we're going to just kind of really focus in on postcards. There's a reason I do postcards, is that putting a postcard together is like putting together anything else in our system, but it allows me to dig into address lists and things like that as well. Before we get into it, I want to talk about your section. This is where it is. Everything should be in here by the end of the day, but we don't have everything in here yet. I rushed her to get one in here before the meeting this morning, so you could at least see your section. So if I click in here, you can see we only have one retirement card, but by the end of the day, you'll have your, and then how many did we get? Maybe 15, 16 different templates, give or take?
Easily, at
Yeah.
least. Can I just ask, can you start from the beginning of how you got here to this entire thing? Like
Absolutely.
go out and go back in so we could just maybe even all the way out like to the beginning of 21 online? No?
No, I don't have access to 21
Okay,
online.
well,
So what that means is how do you access us? So with our partnership with Century 21, we are located in 21 online. So
thank
you
you.
click on the XPRESSDOCS link within 21 online, and it's going to feed you directly into your account. You don't need an additional username or password or anything like that. It's a single sign-on, nice and smooth. And when you do so, you're going to land on a page that looks just like this.
Perfect. And
And
just so that those of you who may need this additional step, once you go into 21 online, you use the menu, the 3 bars of the menu, you go into the productivity hub, easiest way to get it, and then scroll all the way to the bottom because the productivity hub's tiles are in alphabetical order, and that's where you'll find the XPRESSDOCS tile, and that's where Matt was saying, go right in from there and you won't need another login.
that's correct. And if for any reason when you do log in, if you don't see your section, just let me know, because we actually assign these to offices. So your particular category isn't going to be shared with all of Century 21. It is yours and yours alone. So before we get into order, I was going to talk about the homepage a little bit. Products is basically going to bring you to this page. These are all of our different categories, whether it's business cards, whether it's property postcards, flyers, brochures. You can find everything that you need. We have our pending orders. We have our order history. So anything that you've started is pending if you didn't complete it. History, you can get tracing for mailings. You can get tracking for FedEx, all in your order history. And you can start reorders and things like that. My listings, I will get into that. So I'm going to skip it. Programs I'll get into as well. And you just have some online marketing. And then you do have our subscription, XD subscription. If you are frequently using us and you're frequently doing shipping, it's a subscription. It comes with, extra coupons. It comes with free shipping. You get, you can get 250 free business cards a year and things like that. And it's like any other subscription. You can play monthly or you can play annually. But just to use XPRESSDOCS and mostly what I'm showing you today, there's no charge for it. It's part of our partnership. You pay as you go for what you want. All right. So as I mentioned, I'm going to kind of do postcards. I'm going to show you several different ways to do postcards. And as you come into your own, you may have one that you prefer more than the other. So I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to click on postcards here. I'm going to go into just listed and just sold, and I'm just going to select this card right here. And then you're going to get a various backs. So there's no confusion about backs. If you are a single agent, you can use any of the backs that have two headshots on it. If you only upload one headshot, this information right here is just going to shift over to the left. But then we also have, if you're working with someone on a particular property, you can get both people in there. If you are a team, we have headshots made for teams as well, and you can upload your team headshot. So just make sure you select the appropriate back. Then we can name our order. We'll just call this test order. I'm actually in one of your agent's accounts right now. Um, and this is just if you want to do a reorder or anything like that. If you don't change the name of it, it's just going to keep the template name, and you may not know what that order is when you look in your order history. We got all our mailing options. We're going to mail it or are we going to ship it? I'm not going to walk you through a shipped order. That's how many cards that you want. Where are we shipping it to? But if we do mail, we have our first class, we have our standard mail options. What's the biggest difference between these two? Really, it's the amount of time. First class mail takes about 3 to 5 business days, where standard mail takes anywhere from 5 to 15. So if it is time sensitive, I strongly suggest using first class mail, open houses, things like that. But if it's a sold card and you want to save a little money, that's not really time sensitive. Absolutely go standard mail. Um, any order placed by 4 o'clock Central Time is going to print and go to the US Post Office the following business day. So if I placed an order right now, it's mailing in the morning. If I was ordering a flyer or brochure and I place it by 4 o'clock Central Time, it is going to go to FedEx the same day. Because of that, just keep in mind we are printing very, very quickly. So we want to make sure that the card is correct before we place the order. I'm going to go ahead and keep it at first class mail. You're going to have your coating options. We're going to put a high gloss coating on it at no extra charge. Um, I typically suggest it. I think it helps with the color of the card, and I think it helps it through the post office machines. We also have some other upgrades here. Those that have often done mailers, the industry, you can see what we call burn marks on postcards. That means the post office machines are too tight and it's burning the card. We have some coatings that were specifically developed to help with this that you can select if you'd like to, and that's that Postal Protect that you see here. We'll go keep it on gloss coating, and we're going to go ahead and customize. All right, this is the meat of the system right here. This is where you're going to put all of your information. So we have our contact information. Once you put it in here, it is going to save. Just hit save as default, and you will never have to touch this again unless you so choose. Keep coming down, you have a return address. We've got your headshot. This does not feed over from Century 21, so you're going to have to upload it the first time. It's like attaching an attachment to an email, but you're attaching it to XPRESSDOCS, and it will save in here. You will not have to re-upload it unless you want to change it. As we keep coming down, we're going to have our photo. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to grab one, browse. I'm just browsing on my computer, and I have a demo folder. Grab my image, and I'm going to go ahead and open it, and I'm going to go ahead and hit continue. You can see here that it says high resolution. So let's start. You can get 3 warnings from XPRESSDOCS. You can get your high resolution, medium, and low. None of those necessarily mean it's going to print well. Really, all I want is I want an image that is equal or larger than the picture box that it's going into. Really where we get in trouble is someone takes a picture off the internet and it's smaller than the picture box it's going into, and our system actually has to stretch it out. If we're stretching an image, guess what happens? It's going to become pixelated. If you ever have any doubts about an image or anything like that, reach out to us. You can call us, you can chat us, you can email us, but what we don't want to do is go through, place the order, and then reach out to us to make sure it looks good. So just, give us a call if you need to. Keep coming down, and now we have spec fields. It's a template, so everything is programmed to go somewhere very specific. And what you type in here is exactly what we're going to pull in. So, when it comes to the price, use the dollar signs, use the commas, all that kind of stuff, because what's in here is what you're going to get. So we got our front headline, we have our back headline, and then we have our description. This is the information that's going to go right here. This is where you're going to talk about the property if it's a listed. If it's sold, you may say something like, I've just listed this house in your neighborhood. I can do the same for you. And we have suggested copy just in case you don't know what you want to say. We can go to comments and you can browse through our gallery. Select what you want, save it, and it's going to populate in here. Now, one thing to point out here is we do have a character count. This isn't a Word document. It can't just break to another page. There's a fine amount of space that we actually have. So if you override the character count, all we can do to fit your text is shrink it. We will give you a font warning if it gets below 8.5, but make sure you don't put a book in here. You're going to get it, and if you miss the font warning, you could have a 3.0 font and no one's going to be able to read it. Keep coming down. We have everything filled out, so we're going to proof the order. And when we proof the order, it's going to take all that information, it's going to throw it in the template and show you exactly what it is that you're going to get. While this is going, I'll talk about that suggested copy. Hopefully later this year, we're actually going to be, all the craze of AI and all that fun stuff, where we're actually building out an application where you can actually have it write your description for you. So hopefully that's coming later this year. Come in, everything looks good. You can go ahead and click your customer agreement and hit continue. If you need to make any changes, just scroll up, make your changes, reproof your order till you like the way that it looks. I'm going to go ahead and hit continue. And we're going to get into address lists. This is generally, in my opinion, where we get most of our questions. So if you have any, please fire away. No reason to wait till the end. We've got our first class. It's kind of repeating all these things again if you wanted to change anything from your selection in the beginning. But we also have, if we're mailing it for you, you got to tell us where you want it mailed. And these are our options. Upload your list, radius list, street list, demographic, and EDDM. I'm going to discuss some of these and I'm going to demo 2 of them. So EDDM, that stands for every door direct mail. For those that aren't familiar with that, what you're doing is blanketing a postal route. So if you're looking to send out 50 cards or 100 cards, EDDM is not for you. Typically, that's probably 200, 300, 400 addresses, depending on your area. But if you use EDDM, you're going to save 6 cents per card because of it. Demographic allows you to get into age, income, how long someone's lived there. The cost for a demographic ranges from about 5 to 12 cents, depending on how specific you get. Street list, exactly what it means. You are typing in individual streets and we're going to mail to those streets. If it's a long street, you can say I only want to go from the 1000 block to the 2000 block, and we'll only pull those addresses in between. Then we can upload and we can do a radius. Radius is probably the most popular, so I'm going to do that one last. But if you have your sphere list and you want to upload it into XPRESSDOCS, these are the formats that we want it in. It can be most common, it's going to be an Excel sheet or a CSV file. But we want name, address, city, state, zip, all in separate columns or any of the below. When you upload it, we're going to choose a file, grab it, open, and upload. All right, so we're going to do our best to read your list. The good news is if it comes up wrong, we are not necessarily telling you that you have to go remap everything. Really, we're mapping columns. So if it looks good, which this one does, I'm going to go ahead, scroll down and hit next, name my list, hit agree, and create. There we go. And you're going to see here that our system is going to cast certify it. What's that mean? We are going to do our best. Nothing's perfect. I wish I could sit there and tell you that, but we're going to cast it. So we're going to say that this particular list, we have 77 good addresses and 3 that got a warning. So if I wanted to, once it's uploaded, I can go in and I could view my list and make any changes that I need. If we fail it, we cannot mail it. unfortunately. We've had people call in say, I've sold this house. I know that they live there and they get their mail there, but maybe that update hasn't come to the USPS yet, and our system is still failing it. Unfortunately, if it fails, there's not much I can do about it. All right, so that's uploading a list. But when it comes to just listed, just sold, more than likely you're going to be using the radius list. A radius list is just a central point. So you're going to tell us what you want to search around. So I'm going to go ahead and type in, and I'm in Texas, by the way, 76132. And you're going to tell us how many that you want. So I'm using my home address. I'm going to say I want to go to 100, and I'm going to go ahead and hit search. So this is going to go out in a circle around my house, and we're going to tell you what street it's going to, the start house, the end house, and the zip code that it lives in. You can go ahead and hit next, or if you know that a competitor realtor lives on Hillside and you don't want them to get one and you know their address, you can unselect them. Now you're going to get names because you are purchasing this list. You can download it after you place your order, but you're not going to see the names in advance. So you're going to have to know their address. Anytime you take one out, we are not going to put one back in. So be wary of that because our pricing is tiered. If you send out maybe 99 cards instead of 100, it could actually end up possibly costing you more than 100 cards. So just keep that in mind. If you think they're going to take some out, do your list for 102. So you can take out 2 and stay at 100. Going to go ahead and hit next, name your list, and go ahead and hit create. What is the cost of the list for a radius or a street is 5 cents per address. But like I said, you'll be able to reuse it, download it, do anything like that that you want. All right. So we're going to say we just want to send to this list, but I could send to as many lists as I want. You can check as many lists as you want. So I'm going to come down. We have our quantity. We have a sample card that's going to go with it. If you don't want the sample card, you can toggle it off, but this is a card that we're going to mail to you at the same time that we mail the other cards. That means you get something tangible. If you get your card, more than likely everybody in your sphere or in your address list is getting theirs if you want to do any follow-ups. And these are one of those things that I suggest you keep. You can show the, who you're working with, this is what I do for all my listings, things like that. Keep coming down. You have your coding again. We have future fulfillment date. Future fulfillment date for just listed, just sold is probably not something you're going to use a lot, but for your custom section, like your retirement and things like that, maybe you need one to go out and you're out of town, you can schedule the production date of it. Just keep in mind, future fulfillment date isn't the date that it's going to arrive at the house. It's the date that it's going to go into production. So if you wanted to, you could schedule something out, a month in advance, 2 months in advance if you wanted to. Everything looks good here. I'm going to proceed to checkout. Make sure everything looks good, enter your credit card, and check out. That's manually putting together a postcard order. You can see there that with some direction and things like that, it took maybe 10 minutes to get through an order. But we've also built in some things to help speed up that process. That's where these My Listings and this APM program come in. But before I jump out of here, any questions about manually putting a card together? Get my chat. I don't know if any chats have come in. Okay, so I think we're okay. All right. So as I mentioned, we do have some other ways. So with our partnership with Century 21, they do provide a listing feed to us, which means we can take that MLS information, pictures and things like that, and map it to a postcard. So with My Listings, the way that it works is you're going to select your listing first. So let's say this is my listing. I can create my marketing material. And then you're going to select your template. And I'm just going to do the exact same one that I just did. And then you can go ahead and hit customize. This is going to take a second where we're grabbing that properties information and we're going to throw it into the template without making any changes. I'm going to show you what we were able to do.
So this is just a faster, more automated way of manually building out the postcard yourself.
Correct. All right. So contact information is all going to be the same. But as I scroll down, you can see we've already pulled the picture. If I wanted to pick another picture, I could choose another image, and we've pulled all the pictures that were actually uploaded, so I can easily select another one and replace it if I choose to. Or if for any reason you, after the fact, got a new picture that you like more, you can just re-upload that picture. We've pulled the address, we've pulled the subdivision. We didn't get a price or a headline, but we did get the comments from the MLS. Keep in mind, we pulled them all in there. So our character count is in the negative, so we might want to take some out. Come down, and I'm just going to go ahead and proof it. That will hopefully pop here in just a second for us. So with very minimal work so far, I have created a postcard. Now, you'd want to go back and you're going to want to do some touching to it, but you can see what we've done by using my listings. See that font right there? You can see that it's a little small. So that starts with live. So live, it's a 7.5 font right now. You would probably want to edit that. Now, that's the one tricky thing about fonts is it's an opinion. What's too small varies on the person. You know, no surprise. We get some complaints from the state of Florida about things being too small sometimes. All right, so that's my listings. If I was to go ahead and proof and move forward, it's the exact same walkthrough that I just did. All right, if at any point in time before I jump into APM, we are depending on a few different things to be able to match properties to your account. So if you go into your account and there's nothing in my listings and there's nothing in APM that stands for automated property marketing, give us a call, let us look into it. We use two different things to try and do it. When it's sent to us, we first of all use what is called an agent GUID. It means nothing to most people, but it is a unique ID shared between us and Century 21. It's better than an email address because we all have so many emails. If we only used email, maybe maybe it's coming to us from your Century 21 email, but in XPRESSDOCS you have your Gmail. If those don't match, then we wouldn't be able to match the property. But we use both of those. But like I said, if nothing's in there, give us a call. Let's figure out why. All right, so that was my listings. Now we have our APM system. It's using the same listing feed, but using a little bit differently. This allows us to send you an email anytime that you have these four particular types: an open house, a sold, a price reduction, or a just listed. We can trigger an email to you. And that email, I'll show you where that'll take when you get it. I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to do a sold property. So if you get that email or you access it via the site like I am now, the email is going to take you here where you can say, this is a sold property. What do you want with it? You can do a postcard, social media, or an image download for a postcard or for a sold property. If this was a listing, you'd also see a flyer and brochure option, but obviously, I don't know why you'd be ordering a flyer or brochure for a sold. So we're not even going to give you those options. I'm just going to walk you through the postcard and I'm going to start customizing. So very similar to my listings, we're now going to map all this information specifically to the template. And this is a little bit different of a build where I actually have on template editing. So if I wanted to edit and I wanted to change anything, you can see here that I can actually do it right here on the template, and it's just going to populate it immediately. I can click here. I can select image, just like before. I can change my picture. I can throw it in there. I can change my verbiage on this side. I can change anything on the back that I want. All right. Unlike my listings, for APM, we've done something a little bit different. And lack of a better term, it's pick your poison, I guess. Instead of shrinking the text in APM, when it hits a specific number, we've actually cut it off. So just keep in mind, if you're using this, see where it cuts off. You might need to edit that. If it all fits, awesome. If it doesn't, you probably want to edit that a little bit. All right. You make any changes, we're going to have to save it. So I'm going to go ahead and save it. And then I'm going to show you what else APM does. that My Listings does not. And then we'll get into the profile of APM and all that kind of good stuff. All right, so I can collapse here, and we've already done your radius list. So if you are using the radius list and it's set for 50, but you wanted to change it, all you need to do is hit 75. And what it's using is the property address for the listing. So just like that, I already have my list. I have my sample card, first class standard, all the coding options. And once everything looks good, I can go ahead and check out. You just go through the payment process, any promo codes that might be available, and simply check out. So that's using APM. Now, if APM interests you, what should you do before you start using it? I'm going to go back up to my home page. I'm going to go back into my APM program, and I'm going to take a look at my APM profile. All right, this is where you can set your profile. So if I go here, you're going to have your contact information. Set it. Make sure your headshot is set as the default. Probably something I should have mentioned a little bit earlier, but we'll get into it now. Anytime you are doing a list in XPRESSDOCS, whether it's radius, whether you're uploading it, it's going to give you an option if you want to include or resident, occupant, or homeowner. What is the benefit of that? Well, any consumer database, such as we use to pull addresses, sometimes don't get updated in a timely fashion. So if the mailman or woman knows that John Doe no longer lives there and it's only addressed to John Doe, they don't have to put it in the mailbox. But if you add or resident, occupant, or homeowner, it's going in the mailbox no matter what. Now, only time that I don't suggest adding resident is if it is a seasonal area. For any reason, you know that it's out of season. If you don't add resident, occupant, or homeowner and you use first class mail, it can be forwarded to wherever they are if they have set up their forwarding address. All right, so once all this is set, we have all our different options here. You can change the default template that is automatically set. You can change the mailing class that's automatically set, the coding. You can do a default list if you're always sending to the same list. You can also override any of the MLS comments that are coming in, whether it's a new listing, price change, open house, or sold. I don't see this used too frequently for any of these three events here, but the sold does. So the sold, you're not going to really talk about the inside of the house anymore. You're not going to tell them that it's, updated kitchen, all that kind of stuff. It's really more about you. I've just sold this house in the neighborhood. I can do the same for you. Please give me a call. You can type in these sold comments here, and for any sold listing that we get, it's going to override the MLS comments and pull in these sold comments.
Matt,
Yes.
I just want to point this out because I just realized this, thinking maybe some other people might not have yet. So this particular profile is specifically if the agent was going to choose the APM option to execute their postcard. And this sets up, I guess you would say, continual or consistent defaults. So every postcard is going to have all of these same defaults once this profile is created for APM. There is an overall profile for XPRESSDOCS that maybe after this and we're done with these three, we could just walk through, because the first time you log into XPRESSDOCS, you're going to want to put your profile picture in there and check a couple of other things just to make sure that for any other templates that you use that are not APM, the rest of that info is correct. Would that be
Correct.
a fair statement? Okay.
Yes, yeah. I mean, you can go to the profile and set all that, but you can also do all that from your first order when you get it.
Okay.
Yeah,
And
kind of
then
like when
it'll
I,
save it to the profile.
correct, correct.
Gotcha.
When I did the save as default option in that first one, as long as you hit that first time, it's going to save any changes that you did. But I'll show you the profile as well, because it never
Okay.
hurts to see it.
Thanks.
And just like before, the radius list. If you send out 100 postcards each time, even though it's super easy to type in 100, go ahead and change it. It's just one less step that you have to use. And just like we did that with the postcards, you can do that with flyers, brochures, social media, and image downloads. The one thing that you want to do, if you want to get the emails, you want to subscribe to APM. If you don't subscribe to APM, all that does is stop the email from going out, and you can always still access it by logging in. So the subscription drives the email, but if you log in, you can still access it. All right, so that's the APM profile. Honestly, if you're interested in using just to make your life easier, spend the 10 minutes, set up all your defaults so it's less touching that you're going to have to do later. All right, so I'm going to return back to our homepage, and with any account, you're going to have your profile. So if I go into my profile here, you're going to have all these different things that you can go to, whether it's your securities or you can manage your passwords and things like that. Now, you're probably not even using a password with us because you are logging in via an SSO from 21 Online, but you can manage your headshots. You can manage any logo if you have a logo gallery, any of your social medias if you want to do postings, things like that. And they also have your contact information. This general information that you see here, and this is just really more for my listings and things like that. If for some reason we're not mapping off of a GUID, we start looking for the email. The email that we are looking for is the general information email. So this does not necessarily go on your card. So if you don't want to use this one on your card, we still may want it in your general information, because anything that's actually going to go on the card is this customized information. That's what you can save when you're doing an order, so you don't have to continuously retouch it. You can skip over to address lists if you wanted to download one real quick. You have your wallet where you can manage any of your credit cards without going through an order. And that's really our profile option there. Outside of that, really the only other thing that I'll probably show you is our personal marketing section. Let's say we're going to do sports schedules. We've got our football schedules already up. We have all kinds of farming options in here. If you're looking for anything like that, just spend a little bit of time in here. We've got a lot of content. And you can even get some free downloads and things like that in here as well, if you just wanted to do some postings. But spend some time, take a look what's there. If I tried to walk you through everything that was in there, we'd be here for a couple hours, which, I know nobody wants to be, unfortunately. That's it. I know it's not a full hour. It's never intended to be. The system's built for you to get in and out of. We know that you don't want to be doing this. You'd rather I'll be showing homes and doing things like that. So any questions, concerns, anything I can help with?
Two things that I want to point out. One, in the personal marketing section that you just pulled up, there are tons of different postcards and everything, like Matt said. Just so that everybody knows, this personal marketing section is accessible to all agents that use XPRESSDOCS, even if they're not Century 21 agents. So you could pull something from here, and some other agent from a different real estate company could also be using that same postcard. And I've seen it happen on social media before. I've seen those postcards go out through other agents. So just keep that in mind. Doesn't mean you shouldn't use them. It'll be branded to you, but there just is a chance that somebody else could also access those. The second point is, for those of you that use Moxie for anything, Moxie Impress is the marketing tool within Moxie that once you get a listing, it creates automatically a marketing kit for that listing, social posts, postcards, flyers, all of those things. You can take anything that's in Moxie Impress, and there is a direct link to upload that into XPRESSDOCS to do the direct mailer for you, so that you can still use this automation and never ever have to actually see the postcard, write an address, or put a stamp on it yourself, right? You can just take what's in Moxie, slide it over to XPRESSDOCS, and do the mailer from there if you like the Moxie postcard better than customizing this option from here, because that one's already done completely for you. So keeping those two things in mind, what questions do you guys have for Matt?
Correct. And
Anything?
add on to Impress Moxie real quick. When you do that, you're bypassing our setup and you're landing on this page. So when you punch out of Moxie and into XPRESSDOCS, you're landing here for a postcard so you can make your list and actually process the order. So you're bypassing those other steps that I showed you before.
Thank you.
Questions, concerns, people that have used this in the past maybe have a comment. How wonderful it went, I imagine.
We do have some great stories recently for people that, from agents that have done direct mailers and have gotten listings from it in a specific area. One of Albert Lee's agents, actually, her name is Laura Cunningham. She's new agent completely, been with us for what, I think a year, Rick, possibly. She did a mailer through XPRESSDOCS to introduce herself. It was not a listing. It was really just all about her. It was a postcard she was able to customize, gave a little bio about her. This is probably the one right here that Matt's pulling up. And she generated a lot of business for that as a brand new agent, a lot of inquiry. And of course, she followed up that postcard with social media and email campaigns and other marketing efforts, being involved in the community. But direct mail has been successful. Rhonda out of Mille-Lacs has gotten 3, working on 4 listings from a recent direct mail campaign to 150 addresses. So it's a great part of a marketing mix to have. And we are lucky to have this automation that, puts it all together for you.
And any order that you place with XPRESSDOCS, I'm in order history now, you do have the ability to download that PDF. So I could actually go in and I can download the PDF. And if you're not posting it from XPRESSDOCS, you can just take this PDF, save it on your computer, and you can post it. So you're not just hitting them with one thing in the mailbox. They can also see the same thing on their social media. So you can see here is just a download here that you can do on anything that you place within XPRESSDOCS.
That looks good. All right. Well, if there are no questions, thank you, Matt, for doing this. This was great. I love that we'll be able to share this for a while with all of our agents that ever have questions on how to process stuff through XPRESSDOCS. And we really appreciate your time so much.
Absolutely. And I'll follow with you later today when everything else is added to this section. I know she's working on it now.
Awesome.
All right. Well, thank you all so much. I appreciate the time. Let me just real quick, I'll put my email in here. Sometimes when you do these types of things, it seems like no questions at the time, but then when you get in there, you have some. Feel free to follow up with me. Now, if it is, I'm just going to point this out. If it's a cancellation, you place an order and you need to cancel it, don't necessarily email me. By all means, CC me on it. So maybe I'm available, but I'm one person. Where if you reach out to our customer service, that's a group of people. And as I mentioned, we have a very limited amount of time to try and cancel. So it's not best to follow up with just me. I may be away from my computer in a meeting, something like that, and we'll miss that window. But I'm here to help as well. So please, or if we need to do this again, we can do this again.
Thanks.
Absolutely.
We might take you up on that, Matt.
Please do. Please do.
All right. Well, everybody have a great day. Reach out if you need anything, and we'll talk to you soon.
Thank you all. Take care. Be safe.
Bye.